College sports have become a large part of American culture, with 45% of the American population following them regularly, and then accounting for $6.1 billion in revenue annually. Along with the entertainment aspect, injuries are also very much involved in sports as well. The effects and prevention of sports injuries in colleges have come a long way over the last 50 years. The extent of injuries can still yield similar results, but in different fashions. Football, baseball, and softball helmets have each had to undergo over 10 significant changes up until this point. Rubber Mondo tracks, which are significantly more shock absorbent than concrete tracks, did not become the standard until 1986. Innovations like these have helped contribute to higher performance and less injuries, but there is still a lot of ground that needs to be covered. According to the Center for Disease Control, almost 1 out of every 176 encounters an athlete has with a collegiate sport will result in an injury. This number may not seem that large, but this unfortunately includes competitions and practices. When the early mornings and late nights are pushing one's body to the limit in order to get a little bit better, and actual game days start to add up, chances are that injuries are almost inevitable in college sports. This statistic has the capability of being alarming, especially to those of us that have or are planning to take part in collegiate athletics. According to the National Collegiate Athletic Association, more than 460,000 college students take part in college sports, and the percentage of those that get injured continues to rise even with the advancements in sports equipment and training strategies. The injuries that occur can and have been divided into two specific groups: those that are more common in low-impact sports and more common in high-impact sports. At the same time, injuries are not only prevalent in sports such as football and basketball. In fact, cheerleading has a slightly larger practice injury rate than wrestling of all sports. Still, football has consistently maintained its position at the top of the list for creating injuries in both games and practices. The Brain Injury Association of America has calculated that 10% of all college football players receive a brain injury during their tenure. Most injuries that take over a week to recover from take place during games. These can range anywhere from sprained ankles to broken bones. Still, practices account for 63.9% of the injuries that occur in college athletics. Athletes on average are in practice 4.5 times more often than competitions, which explains the larger amount of injuries. As reported by the book Injuries in Pediatric and Adolescent Sports, overuse injuries are the most common form of injury in college athletic practices. These come from working the muscles too hard for extended amounts of time. In Division II colleges, practices on average take up nearly 5 hours a day during their respective seasons. This amount of time with persistent hard work tends to lead to a higher risk of getting injured. College sports in many cases are a step up from high school level athletics. With the accelerated level of training and performance, athletes are more likely going to be injured somewhere during the duration of the season than they would have in high school. In fact, odds show that collegiate athletes receive an average of 2 injuries per season. Whether that means going to the bench or going to the hospital depends completely on the situation. But injuries have always been involved in sports, and people still play them even with the various risks involved. After all, it is that never willing to quit, relentless heart that helps make athletes in college who they are.